177. 171, excuse me. Game shot, third dart. $180.
What's up, everybody? I thought it would be fun to get the video started showing just some highlights of a streamed match that I had this last weekend at the CDC against John Liggett. I ended up ultimately losing that match, and it was my last match of the weekend. And over the whole weekend, I had 4 events. There was a Dart Players of Chicago that was Friday night that kind of kicked off the weekend. And then Saturday and Sunday, there were 3 CDC events, making it 4 total. And my first 2 events, the Dart Players Chicago and the first CDC event, my darts were absolutely terrible. I was so disappointed in myself and so embarrassed. But then I fixed this mistake that I have been making, which I'm also going to talk about in this video. And I was able to end the event. I didn't necessarily throw great darts, but it is some of the best darts that I've thrown in a long time. So I thought I was going to end this weekend just super mad at myself because the way the first 2 events went, but I was actually able to end the weekend on a very positive note and very happy about where my darts are. So in this one, guys, I'm just going to do a small little recap of the weekend of the events, and while doing so, I'm going to tell you guys the mistake that I fixed in myself and hopefully prevent you guys from making the same mistake, because this is something I've dealt with in the past, and I don't know what happened. I must have just had a complete brain block, because I totally forgot about this and I ended up making the same mistake, but now I'm completely conscious of it and I will not make the mistake again. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. If you're new, please make sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Drop this video a thumbs up if you find any of this useful. So Friday night, well, first of all, let's rewind. I've been telling you guys the last couple weeks that my darts practice, whoa, that was bad. Speaking of embarrassing. I told you guys that I've been really happy with how my darts practice has been going. And then I was feeling really good going into this weekend. I was out of town for 5 days, so I was not able to throw darts for 5 days leading up to it. But I didn't think it would really affect me. And honestly, I don't think it did. This was just more so of me not being smart of how I approached the weekend. So it started with the Dart Players Chicago on Friday. And just like I said, the darts were absolutely terrible, kind of like they are right now starting off this video. But the funny thing is they were actually worse on Fridays. So the Dart Players of Chicago, we do round robin. So I think there were 6 people on my board, so 15 legs because you played each opponent 3 times. And of those 15 legs that I played in the round robin, this is embarrassing to say, I can't even believe I'm going to say this on the internet right now, but my average was under a 60. It was just terrible. And no excuses or anything like that because, you know, there are no excuses. Just show up and throw your darts. But the corner that we were playing in was about a 10 to 15 degree difference than the rest of the dart hall because we were kind of shoved back in the corner. And the coldness exasperated this mistake that I was making. So I was making this mistake and then the coldness made it even worse. So I just could not do anything. And then when I had my first match in the knockout stage, I had to play my friend here in Chicago, who I would probably say is our #1 dart player in Chicago here, Anthony Cienciolo. And he just wiped the floor with me. So my darts weren't terrible in that match, but they were not good. They were better than the 59 that I threw in the round robin, but still I left very disappointed. I'm trying to make a long story short here. Saturday morning I show up. There was 2 CDC events on Saturday. First event, I continue making the same mistake, and now I have a 4-hour break for the next event, and this is where things really change. So I went out to my car and fell asleep. I took a little nap in between the matches, or in between the events. I was really tired. Friday night lasted really late and then had to be up early on Saturday, so I didn't get much sleep. So I did need some sleep and it felt good. And then when I woke up, I was just trying to have an honest self-assessment of myself. I am 2 events deep into this weekend, At no point have I felt comfortable with my darts. At no point have I been happy with my darts. And I told myself, what's going on? Because my darts were feeling so good the few weeks leading up to this weekend. And I was so excited to hopefully throw some good darts. So Saturday, after I take my nap, I go back into the dart hall and I was playing some practice matches against Chris Swanson. So we were playing, and my darts, once again, were just absolutely terrible. Like, just embarrassingly bad. I think I threw maybe a 62 in the little practice match that we played. Lots of 5s, lots of 1s. So I sat down, and this is where I had the honest self-assessment of myself. I'm like, Nick, what are you doing? What is wrong? And I pinpointed to a couple things, and now we're going to be talking about the mistakes that I've been making that I do not want you guys to make. Because if you are making these mistakes, I promise that you are never going to get better. You're going to have a hard time winning matches, and it's just overall going to be very negative on your darts. So I'm going to say 2 things, but it all boils down to 1 mistake. So the 2 things that I was doing was, 1, I was rushing myself at the darts line, and 2, I was throwing lazy darts. Now, I think rushing yourself at the darts line is a form of rushing yourself. Wait, did I say that right? No, rushing yourself is a form of lazy darts. So that's why I say those 2 things. But at the end of the day, it just turns into unfocused throwing, rushing yourself, and throwing lazy. So I told myself, when I play my next match, I am going to take my time. I am going to think about my stance. I am going to think about my grip. I am going to, hey, 5 scored. I am going to think about my follow through. These are things that I haven't been doing, and the reason why, and this is the mistake and how I've made this mistake in the past, is that sometimes during my practice sessions, I don't focus in my practice session. I'm throwing a lot of darts, I can hit some good shots, but I'm not really focused in the session. So a lot of times, when I'm practicing, I just come up to the line, stand, bring it up, grab my dart, not much aiming, just bring it up and throw, just like this. Now, there's nothing wrong with practicing like that, and there's nothing wrong with throwing like that if that's how you feel comfortable. But that is not how I normally throw. When I'm throwing my best darts, I'm very locked in on my target, I'm focused on everything that's going on, and I take my time. I am a rhythm player, I am a zone player. When I'm not taking my time, everything gets mixed up, because if I'm rushing myself at the line, when I come up here, before I start bringing my arm back for my backswing, my arm is still just not solid where it needs to be, so it brings it harder to come straight back, and then harder to have a full straight follow through. Because whatever angle you bring that back, that's where the follow through is going to go. So that's one thing. And another thing too is when I'm rushing and I miss a dart, I get mad at myself. Now what do I do with this next dart? I rush it even more. I bring it up, I throw it, I get mad, I'm rushing it, and then that's it. So the thing with rushing your darts too and throwing lazy darts is that you're going to miss more. And when you miss more, the misses feel a lot worse because you are aware that you are rushing yourself and that you're doing what you're not supposed to be doing. So the big difference that I made, like I said, so I would stand up to the line, get my spot. I'm zoned in. I had focus on my target the whole time. I don't even have a dart in my throwing hand yet because I want to be in the right position first. This is how you stand, Nick. You don't just get up to the line and stand and then throw. No. This is your stance. I would look at that target, I would slowly bring my dart up, bring it back and forward. And even though I missed, I didn't have that mindset, that negative mindset of I missed, and then bring my hand down again and then bring it back up. I take my time, I would bring my hand back down, get my grip, aim, and throw. Now I'm missing, I'm doing a lot of talking and all this stuff, and plus I just suck at darts anyway, but bring it up, take my time, and throw. So that is what I did. I told myself not to get emotional. If I score a 5, like I did earlier in this video, I told myself I would not get emotional. I would just move on. And these are things that I've been struggling with. And the darts have been bad because I've been rushing and throwing lazy darts. So guys, you need to be very intentional when you are at that line and make sure that you are throwing the darts that you normally throw. So even though there's fast dart players out there like Danny Lauby, he is a very fast darts player, but even he has a stage in his darts that he could find himself rushing. So I guess that's it, guys. That's the mistake. Do not make it. Make sure you're staying focused, especially when you're in competition. Do not get mad at those darts that you miss, and staying focused helps with that. And it's easier to stay focused if you are not rushing or throwing lazy darts. So once I made that mental choice, guys, now let's go on to the last two events of the weekend. I go into my match on Saturday night after telling myself to consciously make these changes, and I throw my best darts that I have thrown. I can't even tell you how long it's been since I've thrown an 80. Actually, I take it back. I think it was last year. I think it was over a year ago. And I used to throw 80s consistently, but now I'm in an area where if I throw an 80, I am thrilled. And the thing is, I threw an 80, I felt good, but I just felt normal at the same time. Like when I got done and saw the 80 score line, I'm just like, yeah, like that's how I should be throwing darts. How have I not been throwing darts like this? And the reason why is because I've been rushing and being lazy and not being in the zone. So I don't like to make all these judgments off one match, because I've done that in the past where it's like, oh man, I had one good match, I'm out of my rough patch. No, I didn't get excited like that. I just told myself, it was a good match, move on to the next. So the next match, I was able to win that one. The next match, I lost to Gary Mawson, who just got done winning the first event and who was throwing insane darts. I think he threw a 94 against me. But I threw a 77 in the match against him. So now I'm thinking, it's like, I threw an 80, which is one of my best averages in a very long, well, my best average in over a year. And then who knows before that. And now I threw a 77. So now I'm thinking, maybe I got something going on here. That's two matches in a row now where I threw over 75 and then I'm happy. So I left Saturday night, even though, you know, I didn't get the best results, win or lose. That's fine. I just found myself in a much better mindset going into the last event. So Sunday, last event, and the highlights that I showed at the beginning of the video here was a match against John Liggett, and it was this match right here that I'm about to talk about. Quick little backstory. Me and John have played on stream 3 of the last like 5 or 6 events in the first round. The very first time we played, he was up 4-0 on me. Now keep in mind, the first 2 times that we played, both of us threw embarrassingly bad darts, and I'm not saying that to be negative to him because he says the same thing. He says those were just 2 completely embarrassing matches. We did a lot of laughing about it this weekend, but I guess it doesn't matter what the results were. 2 embarrassing bad matches. I won 1, he won 1. So when we saw that we were playing each other first round of this weekend, we had a big old laugh about it on Saturday. And then sure as heck, Sunday rolls around, they announce the boards. Me and John are playing on the stream board again for the 3rd time. And like I said, that last quite a few events here, which is just so funny. So we laughed about it. We had a match on there. And once again, I told myself, Nick, take your time, throw slow darts. And I ended up losing, but once again, I think I threw a 77, maybe a 76. So now that's 3 matches in a row that I've thrown over a 75, which is, it's huge for me right now. It's a really big mental boost because even though I had a couple matches here or there when I was able to get up into the 70s, it was never consistent. So now I have 3 matches in a row where I was able to throw over a 75. So I just need to remember this going into all my future matches, to take my time, do not rush, do not throw lazy darts. And this could not be the better time to have this mindset because I'm going to have about 9 days of solid practice at home before heading out to Nashville for the Music City Classic. And then the weekend after the Music City Classic, the CDC is back in Chicago for 3 more events. So That's it, guys. A little update on my darts there, as well as a mistake I do not want you guys to make. We're going to get in 3 more darts here before we log off. The darts have been so bad this whole video, I apologize. And they're still bad. "26 scored. Don't get ahead of yourself, Nick. You still suck at darts." Alright, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. I'll see you all in the next video. I guess that's it, guys. Shoot well.